Aeneas, of whom Virgil sung, forced by fate and haughty Juno's unrelenting hate. Expelled and exiled, I left my father's shore. I bore long labors, both by sea and land, and in the Trojan War. All this before I won the Latin realm and built the glorious destined town.
Rome. If any nation deserves the privilege of claiming a divine ancestry, that nation is our own. When we declare that Mars himself was our first parent and father of Romulus, the man who founded our city, all the nations of the world might as well accept it as readily as they accept Rome's imperial dominion.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Famous Men of Rome. Please allow me, the legendary hero Aeneas,
and me, the famous historian Livy,
to take you on a journey in 3 parts. We will track the Roman age of kings,
the glory of the Republic,
and the power of the Western Empire.
Please enjoy the performance.
I am the descendant of brave Aeneas who sailed the great sea in search of a new home, a new Troy, a country to one day rule the world. I founded Rome. My name is Romulus. Welcome one, welcome all. Come to my city of refuge. Be you wanderer, fugitive, or refugee, you shall find a home in this city. Rome's a city worthy of your desires. O admirable Latin race, we will be the forebears of truly honorable, majestic, and brave men. You have chosen to pursue greatness, and for that you are truly praiseworthy. The glory of our city will be incomparable to all other cities. You are laying the foundations of victory, dignity, peace, and life.
Thank you, great Romulus. We recover your soldiers, servants, and loyal companions.
But tell us, where shall we find good wives to marry? None will come to us because we are known as criminals and vagrants. Who on earth will marry us?
What do we need that we cannot steal from our neighbors? We will invite our neighbors, the Sabines, to a festival of games and feasting. At the sound of a horn, every man will take a woman and ride back to Rome.
And this they did, causing King Tatius of the Sabines to make war. But he and Romulus, with the grace of the Sabine women, were able to make peace before much harm was done. Rome prospered and a senate was formed to govern it. Romulus was the first king of what would become a grand civilization.
Rome became a civilization that not only acted grandly, but looked grand. Many splendid buildings were erected by the great King Tarquin.
I am Tarquin, and to anyone with the name Tarquin, power is the breath of life. To siege, some, our name is an ill omen, dangerous to lurgy. But I did many great things. Here you see my racetrack, the Circus Maximus.
After King Tarquin, a man named Servius Tullius ruled Rome with goodness and gentleness. But a son of King Tarquin plotted against Servius Tullius. His name was Tarquin the Proud.
This impostor, Servius Tullius, will not stand in my way any longer. I shall be king over his dead body.
And so Tarquin did as he said. Servius Tullius was killed. Tarquin the Proud became king. Tarquin the Proud would be the last king of Rome because he was such a cruel tyrant. One of his sons named Sextus insulted a young lady of the royal court named Lucretia. She was so ashamed that she plunged a dagger into her heart. At this outrage, a leader rose to defy the tyranny of Sextus and Tarquin the Proud. His name was Junius Brutus.
By this girl's blood, none more chastity till a tyrant wronged her. And by the gods I swear that with sword and fire, and whatever else can lend strength to my arm, I will pursue Lucius Tarquinius the Proud, his wicked wife, and all his children.
and never again will I let them or any other man be king in Rome.
We will not suffer one man to rule Rome. We will not suffer one man to rule Rome. We will not suffer one man to rule Rome.
Junius Brutus was given as splendid a funeral as those early days of the Republic could afford, but an even greater tribute to him was the nation's sorrow. The most poignant express was given him by the women of Rome who mourned him for a year. As a father, it was their special tribute to his fierce championship of a woman's honor.
Thus the age of kings ended. The people would suffer no single man to rule Rome. Instead, they put their faith in the rule of the Senate. But Rome's ousted king Tarquin would not go down without a fight. He joined forces with the king of Clusium, Lars Porsena, to try to take back Rome. Porsena and his army marched to Rome, but there encountered some difficulty.
The only way for the Etruscans to enter our city is by crossing the Sublician Bridge. Consul, what do we do?
We must get down the bridge. It is the only way to defend our city. As many who can begin to dismantle the bridge.
The Etruscans are in sight. We're running out of time.
If only someone could hold them off while we finish tearing down the bridge.
Who could do that? A whole army against one man?
Consul, give me 2 good men, and I will defend the bridge and hold the enemy at bay.
3 men to hold back thousands?
We can easily defeat these 3 Romans, and the city will be ours.
The bridge is down, Horatius.
Now turn he as not deigning those craven ranks to see, not spake to Lars Porsena, to Sextus not spake he, but he saw on Palatinus the white porch of his home, and he spake to the noble river that rolls by the towers of Rome.
O Tiber, Father Tiber, to whom the Romans pray. A Roman's arms, a Roman's life, take thou in charge this day.
So he spake, and speaking sheathed the good sword by his side, and with his harness on his back plunged headlong in the tide.
When I emerged on dry earth, the leaders of Rome were there to greet me, and even Lars Porsena's prayers for my safety were answered. With shouts and clapping and weeping, I returned to my home through the river gate, borne on the shoulders of the crowd.
Horatius was well rewarded for his bravery and had a statue erected in his honor. Porsena decided to keep his army on the other side of the Tiber. His plan was to besiege Rome, preventing food from being sent in, thus forcing the Romans to surrender. But there was one thing Porsena had not accounted for: Caius Mutius.
devised a way to save our city. I'm going to march right into the Etruscan camp, find Corsena, and kill him. That should put an end to this siege.
Here's your pay. Go tell the troops to prepare their for guard duty. Distribute this money to your men and report back to me.
Oh no, he's killed the secretary!
Who are you? Why have you done this? I am a Roman citizen. I came here to kill you because you are an enemy of Rome. I have failed, but others are coming who will not fail. Your life will be in constant danger, Lars Porsena, and you will one day be killed when you least expect it.
I shall burn you to death if you do not at once tell me Rome's plans to kill me.
Behold how little we Romans care for pain when it's to defend our country.
I am amazed. This man's heart is fearless and cannot be bound. Set him free.
In return for your kindness, I now tell you of my own free will while I am not under the threat of punishment. Know that 300 young Roman men have pledged an oath to kill you. The lot fell first to me. I have failed, but others are coming who will not fail. Your life will be in constant danger, and you will one day be killed when you least expect it.
Porsena was so frightened at these words that he immediately sent messengers to make peace.
Peace did not last. War broke open with the Aequians to the east. The Romans were easily winning. However, in a feigned retreat during one battle, the Aequians lured some Roman horsemen into a narrow ravine. It was a trap. One Roman horseman did manage to escape and returned to Rome to inform the Senate of the dire situation.
We were following the Aequians in pursuit when they led us into a ravine. They barricaded the exit to most of the army was trapped. They are surrounding Rome's horses at the top of the hills. There's low grass for the horses, sparing water, and not much food. If we're not quickly, they will die.
For a while, the senators saw little hope, but then one senator spoke up.
There's only one man who can save us. Let us go to Cincinnatus.
And so they did. Cincinnatus shall tell you the rest of the story.
When the senators came to find me, I was plowing my fields. Because Rome needed me, I left my plow and gathered faithful men for my army. Before the sun set that evening, we had marched to the hills where the Romans were trapped. In the quiet stillness of dawn, we formed ranks all around the Aequians. It was now they who were trapped. They fought desperately, but in vain. Rome was victorious again. I chose to spare their lives, but not without making them pass under the yoke. The joy of my countrymen was so great, they wanted to make me king. I was crowned with a laurel wreath and paraded into the city. But I knew my role, so I gave up my power and went back to farming.
When the Roman Republic was under a great threat, they appointed a dictator to have supreme power, but only for as long as it took to secure Rome's safety. Our next famous Roman is Camillus. Camillus was a great soldier and was made dictator of Rome in a time of great danger, but he ran into trouble on one occasion. Camillus was accused by the leaders of being greedy with spoils of war. Such a crime was very serious, and it went into trial. Seeing a trial before a tribunal as a disgrace, he chose a life of exile. As he passed out of Rome's gates, he prayed the gods would do something so terrible that the Romans would be forced to beg for his return.
My prayer was answered. Rome was invaded by the Gauls. They swooped down into Italy, defeating all Rome's armies along the way. Most of the Romans deserted the city, leaving it wide open for the enemy to pillage. They destroyed most of the city, but could not drive out a small band of Roman senators and fighters
from their stronghold in the capital. Meanwhile, the people who had fled sought me out. As I had prayed, they pleaded for me to return and deliver them from this disaster. I arrived just in time. The chief of the Gauls, Brennus, is demanding the Senate pay him in gold in order to leave them alone. This is what I told him. We Romans defend our country not with gold, but with steel. And so, it was not gold that saved Rome that day, but the sword of Camillus.
The Roman Republic grew in strength and became engaged in a series of wars with the North African city of Carthage. Rome's greatest threat during these Punic Wars was from Hannibal, the great general of Carthage. He traveled thousands of miles through Hispania and over the great Italian Alps. Rome's only hope was Scipio Africanus.
When Carthage sought to conquer Rome a second time, it sent Hannibal across the Alps with war elephants to crush our army. His brother, Hasdrubal, was the first to see my sword when I repelled him from Italia. Hannibal had also witnessed its cold gleam when it drove his elephants to madness. I gave the short sword, the gladius, to my fellow Romans, to pierce the ranks of our enemies for as long as Rome would wield it.
Romans began to get lazy under the protection their armies provided them. There is even peace with Carthage, but not all Romans trusted their North African rivals.
Delenda es Carthago. I am the Senator Cato, and in my opinion, Carthage must be destroyed. I feel so strongly about the destruction of Carthage that I ended every single speech I made in the Senate with those very words, Delenda es Carthago. I lived during a time when the Romans were losing sight of what really mattered. We were growing fat and lazy. We spent too much money on things we didn't really need, and it was stealing from our strength as a nation. I chose to live a different life. I lived an austere lifestyle as an old frugality. I ate plain food, drank cheap wine, and had very few servants. I was made censor, and with my newfound power, I fought against frivolity and waste. People do not need carriages to get around. They can walk. I levy taxes against items Romans held dear, like fancy furniture. And other non-essential items like jewelry. Delenda es Carthago.
The military might of Rome grew, and with it grew the power and popularity of generals, leaders like Julius Caesar and Pompey the Great made allowance to solidify control of the republic.
I am the great Julius Caesar. I led armies to conquer Hispania and Gaul, and I wrote about these wars in a text that would be translated by Latin school students for generations.
Into three parts, one of which the Belgae inhabit.
Stand up against Rome.
The Aquitani another,
Defend our fatherland.
and the third of people who in their own language are called Celts, but in ours Gauls.
I am the king of great warriors.
Pompey was a great leader of my day, and I, the great Julius Caesar, made an alliance with him. But I would and they loved me. My greatest ambition was to rule Rome. Only Pompey stood in my way. On one fateful day, my army waited at the edge of Italy on the far side of the river Rubicon. Pompey denied me entrance to Rome. Either I would disband my army and give up my ambition, or I would defy Pompey and cross the river. I chose to cross the Rubicon. The die had been cast.
Caesar marched into Italy without the slightest challenge. He crossed the Rubicon, violating Roman laws which prohibited a Roman army inside its own borders. Even so, he was celebrated by the people. He took the power of the Senate and gave it to him. That power went to his head.
All the while, the Senate was planning their revenge on the Ides of March. The Senate was pontificating about his greatness.
So, in the world, his furnished dwell with men, and men are flesh and blood, and apprehensive. Yet in the number I do know, but one that unassailable holds on his rank, unshaked of motion, and that I am he. Let me little show it. O Caesar, hence wilt thou lift up Olympus?
Great Caesar.
Doth not Brutus bootless kneel?
Speak hands for me.
Et tu, Brute? Then fall, Caesar.
After the assassination of Julius Caesar, there was one who denounced his murders. His name was Mark Antony.
Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. This deed shall be avenged. We will not let Caesar's death be in vain. No, I will use it to my advantage. It is Mark Antony who will rule Rome now. Come, let us find the rest of these conspirators. Yes, and bring them to justice.
Like Pompey and Caesar before, Antony made alliance with Caesar's descendant Octavius, but it would not last long.
I'm Caius Julius Caesar Octavius, the great nephew of Julius Caesar. I was destined to be Caesar's heir, and my former ally Mark Antony was not going to stop me. Our fleets were battling off the coast of Actium in Greece. Suddenly, in the heat of battle, Cleopatra, the queen of Egypt, and Antony's companion, suddenly pulled her silver oars to flee. Antony chased after her, quickly abandoning his soldiers. I, Octavius, was now without rival. I quickly rose to supreme power as Emperor Caesar Augustus, bringing peace. My reign saw the flourishing of the arts, contentment among the common people, and the birth of Christ. It was the beginning of a Roman peace, the Pax Romana.
The emperors who succeeded Augustus were powerful and intelligent, but only occasionally good. The moral decay of Rome is often typified by the rule of Nero. Under this evil man, the Christian church saw great persecution.
Christians, a strange lot, believing in some man called Jesus who died as their Lord. Well, I showed them my lordship. One night in Rome, flames lit up all over the city. I could not help but be reminded of Troy and its fall, inspiring me to sing and play my harp. Afterwards, I was blamed for starting the fire. So I had the Christians blamed. They were put to death in many ways. Some said I was cruel, some even pitied the Christians, but I never deserved what happened to me. Why, I had done so many things to bring beauty and art to Rome, while I was not appreciated. When conspirators came against me, I had to flee and fall upon my own sword. What an artist the world lost that day.
Years passed, and Rome found itself being ruled by several so-called emperors who vied for control of the empire. Constantine was one of them. On the day before a battle at the Milvian Bridge, he was praying. God sent Constantine a vision of a cross of light in the heavens at midday with an inscription telling him,
"By this sign you shall conquer."
Accordingly, I called on God with earnest prayer and supplications that he would reveal to me who he was and stretch forth his right hand to help me in my present difficulties. And while I was thus praying with fervent entreaty, a most marvelous sign appeared to me. About noon, when the day was already beginning to decline, I saw a cross of light in the heavens above the sun, and bearing the inscription, "By this sign you shall conquer." And at this sight I myself was struck with amazement, and my whole army also, which followed me on the expedition and witnessed the miracle.
Constantine made Christianity the official religion of the Roman Empire. By then, the empire had been divided between the east and west. Constantine moved his government to the east, to the city that would be named after him, Constantinople. This division of the empire, along with the new official religion, Christianity, did much to benefit the church in new ways. However, it did not prevent the west from being overrun by the Gauls.
Those who worshiped the old pagan gods blamed this new Christian religion for Rome's fall. In North Africa, the Christian bishop Augustine famously responded to this accusation. Was it Christianity's fault that Rome was sacked by the Gauls? No, Rome's own pride and immorality were the source of its trouble. But Christianity offers citizenship in the city of God, where sin is covered by Christ, where the pride of man is redeemed by the love of God.
Christianity is the religion worthy of your desires, O admirable Roman race, the prodigy of Junius Brutus and Horatius, of Cato and of Augustus. Choose now which you will pursue, that your praise may be not in yourself, but in the one true God, in whom is no error. Incomparably more glorious than Rome is that heavenly city, in which for victory you have truth, for dignity, holiness, for peace, felicity, for life,